Okay, hi everyone, welcome back to this Comptia Security Plus course, Preventing and Troubleshooting Spyware. Preventing spyware works in much the same manner as preventing viruses when it comes to updating the operating system and using a firewall, also because spyware is as common as viruses. Antivirus companies and OS manufacturers add anti-spyware components to their software. Here are a few more things you can do to protect your computer in the hopes of preventing spyware. Use or download and update built-in spyware programs such as Windows Defender. Be sure to keep software updated. Adjust web browser settings. For example, disable or limit cookie, create and configure trusted zones, turn on phishing filters, restrict unwanted websites, turn on automatic website checking, disable scripting such as JavaScript and ActiveX, and have the browser clear all the cache on exit. All of these things can help filter out fraudulent online requests for usernames, passwords, and credit card information, which is also known as web page spoofing. Higher security settings can also help to fend off session hijacking, which is the act of taking control of a user session after obtaining or generating an authentication. Uninstall unnecessary applications and turn off superfluous services, for example remote desktop services or FTP, if they are not used. Educate users on how to surf the web safely. User education is actually the number one method of preventing malware. Access only sites believed to be safe and download any programs from reputable websites. Don't click OK or agree to close windows. Instead, press Alt F4 on the keyboard to close the window, or use the task manager to close out of applications. Be wary of file sharing websites and the content stored on those sites. Be careful of emails with links to downloadable software that could be malicious. Consider technologies that discourage spyware. For example, use a browser that is less susceptible to spyware, and consider using virtual machines. Verify the security of sites you visit by checking the certificate or by looking for HTTPS in the URL. Here are some common symptoms of spyware. The web browser's default homepage has been modified. A particular website comes up every time you perform a search. Excessive pop-up windows appear. The network adapter's activity LED blinks frequently when the computer shouldn't be transmitting data. The firewall and antivirus programs turn off automatically. New programs, icons, and favorites appear. Odd problems occur within Windows. Slow applications behaving strangely and such. The Java console appears randomly. To troubleshoot and repair systems infected with spyware, first disconnect the system from the internet or simply from the local area network. Then try uninstalling the program from the control panel or settings area of the operating system. Some of the less malicious spyware programs can be fully uninstalled without any residual damage. Be sure to reboot the computer afterward and verify that the spyware was actually uninstalled. Next, scan your system with the AV software to remove any viruses that might have infected the system, which might get in the way of a successful spyware removal. Again, in Windows, do this in the recovery environment, for example safe mode, if the AV software offers an option. Next, scan the computer with the anti-spyware software of your choice in an attempt to quarantine and remove any spyware. You can use other programs to remove malware, but be careful with these programs because you will probably need to modify the registry. Remove only that part of the infection. Finally, You need to make sure that the malware will not re-emerge on your system. To do this, check your homepage setting in your browser. Verify that your host file hasn't been hijacked, located in C Windows System 32 drivers etc. Make sure that unwanted websites haven't been added to the trusted sites within the browser. Preventing and troubleshooting rootkits. A successfully installed rootkit enables unauthorized users to gain access to a system and act as the root or administrator user. Rootkits are copied to a computer as a binary file. This binary file can be detected by signature-based and heuristic-based antivirus programs. However, after the rootkit is executed, it is difficult to detect. This is because most rootkits are collections of programs lurking together that can make any modifications to the system. When subversion of the operating system takes place, the OS can't be trusted and it is difficult to tell if your antivirus programs run properly or if any of your other efforts have any effect. Although security software manufacturers are attempting to detect running rootkit, it is doubtful that they'll be successful. The best way to identify a rootkit is to use removable media, a USB flash drive or a special rescue disk to boot the computer. This way the operating system is not running and therefore the rootkit is not running, making it much easier to detect by the external media. Sometimes rootkits will hide in the MBR. Often operating system manufacturers recommend scrubbing the MBR, rewriting for example within system recovery options or other recovery environment, and then scanning with antivirus software. This depends on the type of rootkit. The use of GPT in lieu of MBR helps to discourage rootkits. I suggest using GPT whenever possible. Unfortunately, because of the difficulty involved in removing a rootkit, the best way to combat rootkits is to reinstall the software or re-image the system. Generally speaking, a PC technician, upon detecting a rootkit, will do just that, because it usually takes less time than attempting to fix all the rootkit issues. Plus, it can verify that the rootkit has been removed completely. Preventing and troubleshooting spam. The internet needs to be conserved, just like our environment. Might sound crazy, but it's true. There's only so much space to store information and only so much bandwidth that can be used to transfer data. It is estimated that spam causes billions of dollars in fraud, damage, lost productivity and so on every year. Besides botnets and P2P networks, it's one of the biggest gobblers of internet resources. The worst part is that most spammers do not bear the burden of the costs involved. Someone else usually does. So the key is to block as much spam as possible. Report those who do it and train your users. Here are several ways to implement anti-spam security controls and hopefully reduce spam. Use a spam firewall filter. This can be purchased as a software from the server or as a hardware-based appliance. These appliances monitor spam actively and create and update whitelists and blacklists, all of which can be downloaded to the appliance automatically. Network administrators should also block any emails that include attachments that do not comply with company rules. For example, some enable only zip.txt, .doc and .docx to go through their email attachment filter, or zip only. If your company uses a web hosting company for its website and for email, that company likely has many spam filtering options. And on the client side, you can configure Outlook and other mail programs to a higher level of security against spam. This is usually in the junk email options area as shown in figure 2.2. Spam filters can also be installed on individual clients. Many popular Antivirus suites have built-in spam filtering. Make sure it is enabled. Just as an example, my personal email account, which I will try to keep private here, has a filter at the web hosting company. Plus, my anti-malware software package filters these emails, and Outlook is set to high in the junk email options page. And of course, I still get at least several spams in my inbox every single day. Close open mail relays. SMTP servers can be configured as open mail relays, which enables anyone on the internet to send emails through the SMTP server. Although this is desirable to customers of the company that run the SMTP server, it is not desirable for the company to have a completely open mail relay. So open mail relays should either be closed or configured in such a way that only customers and properly authenticated users can use them. Open mail relays are also known as SMTP open relays. Remove email address links from the company website. Replace these with online forums, for example, secure PHP forums that enable a person to contact the company but not see any company email addresses. Use a separate advertising email address for any literature or ads. Consider changing this. Often marketing people might already do this as a form of tracking leads. Taking it to the next level, consider an email service. Use whitelists and blacklists. Whitelists are safe lists of email addresses or entire email domains that are trusted, whereas blacklists are lists of email addresses or email domains that are not trusted. These lists can be set up on email servers, email appliances, and within email client programs such as Outlook. Train your users. Have them create and use free email addresses whenever they post on forums, tech support portals, and news groups, and instruct them not to use their company email for anything except company related purposes. Make sure that they screen their email carefully. This is also known as email vetting. Email with attachments and should be considered volatile unless the user knows exactly where it comes from. Train your employees never to make a purchase from an unsolicited email. Also explain the reasoning behind using blind carbon copy (BCC) when sending an email to multiple users. Let's not beat around the bush. We also know that this is the most difficult thing to ask of a company and its employees, who have more important things to do. However, some companies enforce this as a policy and monitor users' email habits. Some companies have a policy in place in which users must create a safe list. This means that only the addresses on that list can send email to the user and have it show up in the inbox. You can't save every computer from malware. On our final and sad note, sometimes computers become so infected with malware that they cannot be saved. In this case, this data should be backed up if necessary by removing the hard drive and saving it to another system, and the operating system and applications and the applications reinstalled. The UEFI BIOS of the computer should also be flashed after the reinstall, and the system should be thoroughly checked to make sure that there were no residual effects and that the system's hard drives performed properly. Chapter summary. Computer security threats can be delivered by the way of software or within an email via zombie computers that are part of a botnet, by using exploit kits and through backdoors and the act of privilege escalation. The idea is that the hacker The idea is that the attacker wants to either render the computer useless or gain administrative access to it. The reason, more often than not, is that the attacker wants confidential information such as company secrets, credit card numbers, or even classified government information. But it could also be that the attacker simply wants to create havoc. Whatever the reason, be sure to know the warning signs for the various types of malware you might encounter, from virus caused lockups and restarts to spyware caused web browser modifications. If malware does infect a computer, be sure to implement proper removal procedure, either the one listed in this chapter or one that is provided to you by your organization's written policies. However, prevention is key to a productive business environment. Understand that prevention techniques for viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, ransomware. Review those methods periodically to make sure that you are implementing the best and most up-to-date strategies possible. I say it often, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, to quote Benjamin Franklin. This is one instance where just a little bit of time spent securing systems and educating users could save an organization hours, possibly days, and perhaps a whole lot of money in the process. So I'm going to leave this video here for today. If you like listening, please consider like, sharing and subscribing. Thank you.